Hello and welcome to the Wolfchase Toyota Insider, the Memphis Tiger Network. I'm Jeff Blywill alongside Kevin Robinson, and the regular season has wrapped up. And we want to talk first of all about last weekend. And Coach, before we get into the actual competition part of the meet, it was Alumni Weekend. And I know the last 2 years you've kind of brought that back, built that up to be an event. How'd things go with all the alumni coming back?
Well, I thought it was, again, a great event. It took a lot of effort, a lot of hands on deck. Dawn, our director of operations, kind of spearheaded that whole event. And it's the second year we've done it. I felt like we learned a lot from last year. I felt like we put together a really respectable event this past weekend. And the alumni were excited. They were happy. A lot of them were here last year, but probably half didn't make it last year and were here this year. So, it's good to get some more fresh faces in there. And we had a lot of time, a lot of fellowship, a lot of stories about young and old, and some of the changes and differences in the program, from where we are now and where we were 20, 30, 40 years ago. So, yeah, it's nice to have that much common bond in one room from different generations. It's pretty cool.
And not to dive too far into it, but I know the big Time to Shine campaign we've had for several years here in maybe the not too distant future, with soccer moving over there too. Eventually you'll have a new grandstand, all that kind of stuff. But you guys did a nice job of dressing the place up. I was leaving baseball the other night, and they had the wrap around the grandstand, putting up the signage. Really made it look nice over there.
Yeah, I tell you what, a lot of people really got involved, and they got behind the event. And it's not just about my event. It's not just for track and field. Some of the beautifications that were done out there it's beneficial for everybody. It makes the walk into FedEx Park just look cleaner and a little bit more cared for. And obviously it was beneficial for us, but I feel like it's just another step forward over there at South Campus to continue to improve and build and grow as an athletic department.
That meet's great for the alumni to come back, see everything, get re-involved, but really the purpose of it for you and the team is competition. So your thoughts over the weekend?
Yeah, when you really get down to it, I'm just a track coach, and I like to coach and I like to compete. And the meet went well. We were blessed with some decent weather. The sun was out. It was a bit gusty, but we managed to put together some pretty solid performances, and I felt like the event itself went off well. I feel, it was a positive experience. I feel like the other teams and coaches that came in, had a good meet. We try to make it a very athlete and coach-friendly atmosphere, and I think we accomplished that. So, in terms of our performance, we had a couple of standouts, especially out of the jumps group this weekend. Saida Burns-Moore, she had the best single meet of her entire career, and she rebroke her own high jump record, jumping 181, which is just over 5'11". And then she came back and won the triple jump with a slightly windy but very, very long lifetime best for her in the triple jump as well. And Sierra Gordon, just a freshman for us, she tied our existing school record in the long jump. And it's the first time she's put together what we feel like she's been capable of for some time. And I feel like that's kind of the groundbreaking performance for her that's going to allow her to continue to build, and she will be a major force for us in the future. And Sandra and Christian Hill both in the triple jump lifetime best, and most likely with those marks we'll be advancing to the regional championships as well. So I felt like that jumps group really stepped up. A lot of the performances on the track weren't quite what we were expecting, and a lot of that ties into the wind and the inconsistencies there. But I think all in all, across the board, we had a good meet, but I feel like that jumps group kind of stole the show.
Well, Saida stole the show too. As you mentioned, maybe her best meet ever. She ends up, we just got this news, the American Conference Female Field Athlete of the Week.
Yeah, it's a very well-deserving honor for her. And, she solidified herself this weekend as one of the best multi-purpose jumpers in the conference. And she's put herself in a tremendous position going into the championship this weekend, or next weekend, to perform really, really well.
Coach, now that the home meet is over, the regular season is wrapped up, you mentioned next week you'll go to the meet, but overall, the thoughts on the season, because that outdoor season, it gets here right after indoor, and it seems like poof, and you're right at the conference meet.
We spend the entire fall beating up on each other and training and, going nuts. Can't wait to try to compete, and then all of a sudden the next semester you have 2 seasons that are down the drain before you know it. So I feel like our season has gone pretty well. We've definitely had some ups and downs. We've had a couple injuries here and there, but that's track. You know, that's the same for every program across the country. What I feel like at this point is what we've done leading up to this point suddenly becomes pretty irrelevant, and what we do from this point moving forward is paramount. And you know, we're all hands on deck. Everybody's got one mission, and that is to bring it next weekend in Wichita. So that's what we're focused on 100%, and that's where we're going to stay.
How do you handle the next week and a half? Because I know you guys are wrapping up exams. Then, of course, no competition this weekend.
Yeah, we'll have an off week. Well, we call it an off week because we're not traveling or competing. But you know, we have a very dedicated group of academic kids, and this week is monstrous for them. So the finals take a lot out of them, and that's why we don't travel. That's why we don't compete, because I want them to be here and focus on their academics and step back, take a little bit of a back seat, and let them focus on that. And then by the end of the day on Thursday, then they're ours again, and we can really get back to work.
All right, Coach, thanks a lot.
Thank you, Jeff.
It's Kevin Robinson. I'm Jeff Brightwell for the Wolfchase Toyota Insider on the Memphis Tiger Network.